Snehashish Das is a research student of the Jawaharlal Nehru University. I'm going to begin with you, Mr. Subramaniam. How do you respond to critics alleging that the UGC's 2026 equity regulations lack penalties for false complaints? And in fact, it will end up overburdening institutions with vague discrimination definitions and perhaps even potentially harass general category students.
Yeah, so I have read this regulation and I have also compared with the 2012 regulation. As you know, this is not the first time that UGC has issued a regulation. The 2012 was the first comprehensive effort of the UGC to prevent discrimination on the campus. So I have compared both the drafts, and a few things come out very, very clearly. First thing is that there is discrimination on the campus. I mean, we must be alive to the fact that many scheduled caste students, especially, face a lot of difficulty in the campus in order to move around with others. So it is not this particular regulation has not come out of thin air. It has evolved over a time, and it is based on several Supreme Court observations from time to time.
That's right.
The entire Rohit Vemula case, the Supreme Court has passed several orders and several times, observations, stating that the UGC's regulation of 2012, although it is a very comprehensive and forward-looking one, it lacked any implementation system or an institutional mechanism. So that particular gap has been filled by this 2026 regulation. So my first observation is that it has not come out of thin air.
Okay.
It has arisen out of the requirement, and it is based on Supreme Court order. So to that extent, I see absolutely nothing wrong with this regulation. However, there are some very disturbing tendencies in this. As you know, 2012 regulation basically looked at the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe discrimination on the campus. We all know that a serious problem exists there. But here, this particular regulation has added virtually everybody, EWS, OBCs, who never faced the caste-based, the untouchability sort of a situation in our society. Okay. So expanding this to close to about 92% of the student population doesn't make any sense. So I don't know on what basis they have expanded this definition to include so many categories. It in fact defeats the focus on the most aggrieved sections, that is the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes.
Okay, so two big takeaways from that, from what Dr. Subramaniam, in fact, R. Subramaniam has said. Perhaps, Mr. Rajput, you'll be able to answer that. It has arisen out of requirement, and second, there are challenges. There is also, by including 90 to 95% people on the campus, it has that issue of problems rather than really ensuring that there are solutions and equity or the larger aim is achieved.
Yes, a very important point has emerged. That the original draft prepared by the NCER, by the UGC,
yes,
did not include OBC. When the draft went to the committee, Standing Committee on Education and Other Areas, headed by Sri Digvijay Singh, it recommended inclusion of the OBC.
Okay.
And UGC also included it. But that perhaps was not necessary. And that is a major cause because of which the left outs, the suburbs as they are called, they are very much disturbed. Now what happens? In 1871 there was a Criminal Tribes Act, and certain tribes were declared.
आत्महत्या कर ली। तो ऐसे कानून जो अभी तक छात्रों के लिए नहीं थे, छात्र अभी तक संगठित था, युवा पढ़ने की तरफ जो अग्रसर था, वो युवा कल एक दूसरे पर आरोप मरता हुआ नजर आएगा।
Snehashish, respond to that this is unnecessarily trying to create division among students.
See, I second Ria on that Shibam perhaps hasn't read the document properly, because the very first page there is a section called objectives. In the objectives, economically weaker section is very prominently written. Okay, so as also sir told, like it is trying to create certain community as criminal, but I don't find any section writes that the unreserved to be the criminal caste. It does not protect them because they don't need protection. It's an equity bill. It only says, it does not say who is criminal. So in that sense, if you see, it says caste discrimination that happens with SC to OBC.
Okay, Sneshish,
But it doesn't
I'm going to fix your audio. Let's fix that audio because there is a problem with your network, and I'm going to come back to you. In the meanwhile, let me bring in R. Subramaniam again. Given your role in shaping the National Education Policy of 2020, Mr. Subramaniam, do you see these regulations really promote campus equity, or do they risk deepening caste divisions as Shivam was highlighting here?
It goes beyond the NEP's boundary. NEP has mentioned, has taken a very tactical approach of being a light but tight regulation. So that basically means that you really focus on the crux of the matter and be effective. Here, unfortunately, what happened is that they have expanded to 92% of the students. So therefore, I think this particular regulation, unfortunately, runs counter to the NEP spirit, and so it must be relooked into. I'm very sure that it requires a
Since you are saying that there is a need for a review, then would you then say that why bring the regulation at all?
No, this regulation would help provided the definition is focused on the marginalized sections who are primarily scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. I think if it retains focus on that and not expand to the entire population, then it will be fine. I think that's one thing, because it has a good institutional mechanism. So I think by sharpening focus on the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, I think this particular regulation will go a long way in promoting equity.
Okay, let me bring in Sneshish Das again. Sneshish, if your audio is a little better now, please go ahead and finish your point.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, now this is much better. Go ahead. Boli.
Yes, so my point was the very first page, it mentions in the objective, section of objective, that there is a mention of economically weaker section. So definitely what Shivam was saying, there was no mention of EWS, it's just a misreading. And second, as Sir was saying, there was a creation of criminal caste. But it's not the case. There is no clause that says only the unreserved community can commit discrimination. Because if a OBC person commits discrimination, even though the person is protected not to be discriminated,